So, step number one is to understand that the universe is a living thing, but it doesn't speak words, it speaks frequency. So, what is the universe? First of all, what's the physical universe? What are those mountains right there? They're just energy. What's my hand? It's just energy. What's your body? It's just energy. Touch the thing you're sitting on right now. You might be sitting on a chair or a couch or something. It's just energy. And everything that you want is just energy too. But what most people do when they're trying to talk to the universe is they go like, universe, God, please give me some money. And they try to talk to it in their language, English or Portuguese or Indian or Spanish or Chinese. God doesn't speak your language. God speaks frequency, because all words are vibration. They send a vibrational wavelength, and based off the way our brains work, it picks up that frequency pattern, and then it translates it into a language we understand. Our words are just symbols of vibration that we've used to make sense of the world, but all they are is frequency. So what most people do when they pray is they think of God like a vending machine in the sky. They think of the universe like a vending machine, and they're like, hey, you up there? I want more money. Let me press A7 in the vending machine. Please pop it out. Well, what frequency are you in when you're doing that? It's important to know that everything is really two things: what you want and the absence of what you want. What you want and the absence of what you want. And my life really changed when I listened to Greg Braden talk about the science of prayer. And he tells a story about traveling around the world and learning from all these ancient traditions about how to pray. And one Native American culture takes him to the top of a mountain to go pray for rain during a drought in the high desert. And they go on this big hike, and they get to the top of the mountain, and he thinks they're going to do this big ceremony. And the chief goes, all right, we're done. Let's go home. And he's like, what? I thought we were going to pray. And he said, I just did. He said, well, what do you mean? He said, I prayed for rain. Well, aren't we going to do a ceremony? Like, aren't we going to ask God, hey, God, you up there? Can you give us some rain? Hey, universe, what's up, bro? Give me some rain. And he said, no, I felt the rain. I felt it on my body. I felt it on my skin. I smelled it. I could smell the rain. I heard the rain. So what was he doing? He was evoking a feeling. And what is feeling? It's conscious awareness of vibration. And what is vibration? It's a certain frequency. What language does the universe speak? Frequency. So what was he doing? He was ushering in the frequency or the feeling of what he wanted as if it was already here. So he communicated to the universe, to God, to spirit, through a feeling of gratitude. And that's why Dr. Joe Dispenza says, can you give thanks for a future that has not been made manifest yet? So understand, the universe is a living thing. It is consciousness. And consciousness responds to the frequency that you transmute to it. It doesn't speak English. It speaks energy, it speaks frequency, and it speaks vibration. Number two is to understand that spirit is 100% evenly present at all places at all times. In the Bible, it says that creation is finished. So if creation is finished, what does that mean? Well, science tells us there's a bridge between science and spirituality, science and religion. So when religion says that creation is finished, what does science say that backs that claim up? Well, science says energy is never created or destroyed. So if energy is never created or destroyed and all of the physical creation is just energy, so when creation is finished, what that means is all the energy, all the possibilities that ever could exist and already do exist, they're already 100% evenly present in all places at all times. Spirit is everything. You can call it spirit, you can call it God. Alan Watts says you can't get wet by the word water, so who cares what you call it Frank if you really wanted to. You call it Jeffrey, you could call it Susie. It doesn't matter. It's a living consciousness. So spirit's 100% evenly present at all places at all times. And Greg Braden talks about the divine mind, or the quantum field, that since creation is finished, all the energy that ever was and ever will be is just, essentially, it's in another dimension. It's just outside a third dimension. And the observer effect in quantum physics shows us this, that subatomic particles, the particles even smaller than atoms, They sometimes exist and sometimes they don't exist. They're sometimes visible and sometimes they're invisible. In science, it's called a particle when it's observable, when it's localized in space-time here in this dimension. But sometimes it's a wave. Sometimes it flits and fleets outside of third dimension. It essentially collapses out of third dimension. It is non-localized. It is not a localized particle in space and time. Well, where did it go? In essence, it went to another dimension, but really there is no there. There is no out there another dimension. It just went to a frequency pattern or a vibratory rate outside of this dimension. So if spirit is 100% evenly present in all places at all times, and creation is never finished and energy is never created or destroyed, everything you want already exists as a field of as a possibility in the quantum field. It already exists in another dimension. But the way you bring it to life in this dimension is based off of the frequency that you speak to the quantum field. And this is why I'm so big on hypnosis, because once I learned this and I said, if all of this, and I'm not asking you to believe all of this, right? Like there's people way, way, way smarter than me that I'm not, this information is so powerful and I have license to brag about it because I didn't make any of it up. Some of the most intelligent, scientific, spiritual, and religious minds in the world have formulated this. Greg Braden, Dr. Joe Dispenza, brilliant people have showed us this is true. And I said, well, let me have an open mind and try this. So I'm not asking you to believe it. I'm asking you to try it. So when I dropped out of college, this is how I applied this into my life. I dropped out of college. I decided I wanted to travel around the world, write a book about it, and become a big successful author and speaker. Well, I got denied by every single publishing company. I didn't think it was possible. But then once I learned that creation is finished, there's a quantum field that holds all possibilities. And just like the observer effect shows that consciousness influences reality from a subatomic level, and you can make energy appear and disappear in your life based off of the consciousness, based off of the frequency, then everything I want exists. The reality of me being a multimillionaire author and speaker inspiring millions of people already exists. Lack of evidence isn't evidence of lack. Just because I can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Wayne Dyer had a really good book. You know, everyone always says, I'll believe it when I see it. Wayne Dyer had a book titled the opposite. He said, you'll see it once you believe it. So you can comment that down below. You'll see it once you believe it. So what I started to do is I realized there's a conscious frequency that I'm transmitting and a subconscious frequency that I'm transmitting. My subconscious frequency I was transmitting was a bunch of crap. I believed I was too young, not good enough. I got denied by all these publishers, so I didn't think it was possible. So I started hypnotizing myself. I started brainwashing myself every single day. So my prayers became, instead of this like light my incense and like do this whole ceremony and sit on my knees, what it really was me changing the frequency I was broadcasting, just like a radio tower is emitting a certain frequency. I had to send a clear signal that I already was, and I was already grateful that I was a very successful author, inspiring millions of people, making millions of dollars, doing all these things that I wanted that seemed impossible. I had to start embodying it. So if you want to use my success hypnosis, it's right there down below. Don't get it yet. Finish watching this video because it's very powerful, but it's pinned to the comments and in the description right there down below. And here's the important point. Everything you want already exists and it's seeking you. What you want is seeking you, and everything you want already exists. Science shows us this because everything you want is just energy. Energy is never created or destroyed. Science tells us this. So if creation is finished and energy is everything and energy is never created or destroyed, everything you want already exists. It's just waiting for you. It's like it's in vibrational escrow, like the escrow on a house where it's like in between owners, it's in escrow. Similarly, everything you want is in vibrational escrow in another dimension or just outside of visible light, outside of third dimension, waiting for you to align with it. And that's why Nikola Tesla, who was Time Magazine's Man of the Year as the man who lit the world, one of the greatest scientists who ever lived, that's why he said if you want to understand the secret to the universe, you have to think in terms of energy and frequency, because that's all everything is, just different rates or amplitudes of energy and vibration. So comment down below, everything I want already exists. Everything I want already exists, and you can check out my free success hypnosis right there down below to reprogram your subconscious to change the frequencies that that you're emitting to the quantum field, and thus, because all of reality is just a mirror that reflects back your own frequency patterns, that's how you change what appears in your life. Number 3, communicate with gratitude and love, not with fear or need, because the universe only speaks frequency, right? We talked about that earlier. So you communicate with it through gratitude and love, through a feeling of gratitude, love, because all feeling is energy. That's all feeling is. It's conscious awareness of your own vibration. It's conscious awareness of your own frequency. So gratitude and love have a certain frequency. That's why Dr. Joe Dispenza says, can you give thanks for a future that has not been made manifest yet? Because once you can give thanks for a future that hasn't been made manifest, you change your electromagnetic field. So you change what you're drawing or pulling from the quantum field. In addition to that, neuroplasticity and neuroscience that Dr. Joe Dispenza speaks about at great length, what happens is once you start to feel grateful, like I would just feel grateful that I already had this book translated in other languages. I started imagining over and over while I would listen to my success hypnosis that my videos were going viral. I would replay this scenario. I call it the record player technique, where I would imagine in my head, I sat down at my computer, I would refresh the browser and my screensaver, and then when I'd hit the refresh button on YouTube, my videos had went viral, and all of a sudden I had from like 2,000 subscribers, I had hundreds of thousands of them, and I would replay it in my head and get super excited about it before it happened. What was that? That was me changing my communication pattern or my communication language to the universe from reinforcing the frequency patterns of my current limitations of my reality to instead moving to creation consciousness. I moved from reacting to creating. Gratitude and love. So I went from gratitude and love, like loving the fact that everything I wanted was happening. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real. And your brain is just a switching station your brain is a switching station of electromagnetic frequency. And every electromagnetic frequency your brain transmits sends a different rate of vibration. And that rate of vibration is 2 things, what you want or the absence of what you want. What you want or I didn't have what I wanted yet in 3rd dimension, but I felt like I did. My frequency was in harmony with it. Like Tesla said, think in terms of energy and frequency. I already was it as far as I was concerned. I was just waiting for the physical world to catch up with it. I already knew it, right? But what most people do is they communicate to the universe out of fear or need. Please, please, please. Oh my gosh, this might not work. Please help me out. And so what are you doing? You're reinforcing the same lack and limitation, and then it doesn't work, and you get more of what you don't want, and then you go, this doesn't work. So speak and communicate through gratitude and love, and ask yourself, can I give thanks for a future that has not been made manifest yet? And if you're still with me here, make sure you smash the like button on this video. I got 3 more powerful steps that can truly change your life, how you communicate with the universe, and what you create in your life. So make sure you hit the like button on this video, and we'll keep moving right on through this video. So number 4 is to understand that images in your mind harness spirit energy to build a spiritual prototype in a higher dimension. So your brain's an electronic switching station that projects frequency. The way your brain projects frequency or emotions, because all emotion is energy and motion, it is frequency. The way your brain does that is through images, because your brain works in pictures. So when I say think of your mom or think of your car, you see it. It doesn't spell out in your head. You don't spell out, I have a WHITEFORD, white Ford. No, you see it instantly. You see your white Ford immediately. Your brain works in pictures. So when I say everything is 2 things, what you want and the absence of what you want, what happens is a lot of people are in reactionary consciousness. So their image making power of their mind is constantly reinforcing the images of their current limitations instead of moving out of reaction to creation consciousness and building new pictures and building new images. So images in your mind harness spirit energy to build a spiritual prototype. If energy is never created or destroyed and creation is finished, everything you want already exists in a quantum field or in another dimension or however you want to define it. So a spiritual prototype, when I see my YouTube channel going viral, even though I have 2,000 subscribers, When I see that I'm translated into other languages, even though every publisher was denying me, what was I doing? I built a prototype, the same way you build a prototype for a new invention. I built it in the spiritual plane. I built it in the astral plane. And we exist on a few planes. We exist on the physical plane, the spiritual plane, and the mental plane. So I was taking my mental faculties, building new images, building a prototype in the spiritual dimension. I aligned my mental and spiritual planes, and then that's what materializes it here in third dimension. So when you use my success hypnosis, use it to start to build new images. So whether it's money, whether it's romance, you can feel like you already have attracted your ideal romantic relationship, or you can feel like it's impossible. They're two distinct different feelings. Everything is two things, what you want or the absence of what you want. So it doesn't matter what you're getting now. What matters is where your image-making power of your mind is focused, because that sets up the electromagnetic field or the frequency pattern that you're transmitting to the quantum field or to the universe, and thus that's what's predicting or creating your future. So whatever it is that you want, while you listen to my success hypnosis, start to build new images before you go to bed, as you're falling asleep. Instead of rehearsing everything you have to do tomorrow, everything that was going on in the day, get control of your mind. And when you get control of your mind, start replaying what you want. Start seeing the good things happening. Start imagine yourself walking on the beach with your soulmate. Evoke the feeling of how good that love feels, how grateful you are that it finally happened. And when you do this repeatedly, your subconscious, which is your emotional mind, your conscious is your logical mind. Some people are listening to this and they say, no freaking way, BS. They comment down below, idiot, loser, stupid. That's their conscious mind rejecting all this information. But you're controlled through your subconscious. Just like that old analogy, you only see the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is what sunk the Titanic. It was what was below the surface. Your mind is the same way. Your psyche is the same way. 95% of it you cannot see, smell, taste, or touch. It's subconscious. And it's emotional. Your subconscious mind is your emotional mind. So when you build new images and you get emotionally involved in these images, you send a new program to the subconscious and you start to change the operating system of the subconscious. So what I did is I changed the operating system of my subconscious from being a 20-year-old loser dropout. All the publishers said, no, this is too hard. And I started changing it that I'm a happy spiritual multimillionaire inspiring millions of people. My books are translated in other languages. I changed I overrode the operating system of my subconscious. In essence, I deleted the viruses and I updated the software. So ask yourself, what images are you replaying in your head, and how can you use the image-making power of God? Like, we're all divine beings, right? You are a divine being. You really are a divine being. Comment that down below. I am a divine being. What does it mean to be a divine being? What does it mean to be made in the image of God? Well, it means that you have access to spirit energy through your own free will to start to, they said first was the word, right? That's how creation was built. First was the word. Well, the word is, in this dimension, is you building new images and new pictures. Those images and pictures that you get emotionally involved with, they build them in a higher dimension and they materialize here in this reality. Number 5, you're made in the image of God, and the medium of expression of that is through your imagination. John Keats, famous poet, used to say, everything that is now real was once imagined. Think about it. Every single thing that is now real in this dimension was once imagined. What most people do is they use their imagination negatively, and they imagine they're being cheated on, they imagine they're going to be broke forever, and they imagine that they're going to be unhealthy, and they imagine these bad things are going to happen, and they use anxiety and worry and fear to harness their imagination in a negative way, so their frequency pattern is aligned with that, and they recreate similar negative and undesirable circumstances over and over and over, and they go, see, I told you. I told you. But they don't realize they're creating it because it's happening subconsciously. That's why the subconscious is so powerful. That's why I say, get my success hypnosis. It's right there down below. It's Jake's Hypnosis, pinned to the comments and in the description. But think about this. So if you are truly made, if you truly believe you're made in the image of God, then what is the medium of expression of that? How do you express the fact that you are made in the image of God? It's through imagination. Everything that is now real was once imagined. Some people say, well, I don't have a very good imagination. That is you imagining it. Everybody has an imagination. It's just what happens is most people's imaginations get stuck in a reactionary consciousness. So they imagine their future is going to look like their present. They imagine their future is going to look like their past. So you have to start to disassociate from your five senses. You have to start to be a visionary. What is a visionary? We always talk about it, right? Look at that visionary who's changing the world. A visionary is just someone who lives from an inner vision. Most people live as reactionaries, right? There's two. You can be a visionary or a reactionary. Most people are reactionaries. They take the image-making power of God, they take their imagination, and they react to what they see with their five senses. And then they recreate their reality over and over and over again and say nothing's changing. When in fact, everything's changing because you live in an ocean of motion and everything is just flitting and fleeting vibration moving at the speed of light. The boundaries of third dimension are the speed of light. And so what happens is we create it over and over again. So remember, everything that is now real was once imagined. Remind yourself, you're made in the image of God and you have a divine tool called your imagination that can allow you to recreate your reality the way you want it to be, as opposed to the way that you may have unconsciously created it from your subconscious patterns. Last but not least, the universe is one of free will, and one of the purposes of life is spiritual realization, or raising your level of awareness. So God doesn't give you anything that you're not ready for. One of my friends used to always say, everything you need, nothing you can't handle. Everything you need, nothing you can't handle. So when you open your eyes and you're staring at a reality that you don't really want, it's fine. Everything you need, nothing you can't handle. The universe is one of free will because the whole purpose of life is spiritual realization, is development. We all have our own lessons and reasons that we're here for. Yours are different than mine. But the universe is one of free will. That's why God or the universe speaks in frequency, because it's one of free will. If the whole purpose of life is to raise your level of awareness and is spiritual realization, then the whole purpose is defeated if you can just go, hey God, please give me some money, dude. You up there, bro? Hey universe, could you please help me attract my soulmate and help me realize love's out there? Hello, anyone out there? If it worked like that, it would defeat the whole purpose of free will. Because it is a manifestation, or prayer, or actualizing your life is a spiritual exercise that involves raising your level of awareness. And again, going back to that Tesla quote, it involves understanding the way the universe works, which is, if you, as Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy or frequency. So it's moving out of your third dimensional self. It's moving out of identifying yourself as a body. It's moving out of your own perceived limitations of seeing yourself as just merely a physical body and having your consciousness trapped into third dimension, into the walls of this little dimension, which is a very small bandwidth of energy. It is not absolute reality. And it's moving to a higher plane of awareness. So remember that you do, Albert Einstein, he said that the most important decision you'll ever make is, do you live in a friendly or a hostile universe? Do you live in a friendly or a hostile universe? But you have to make that decision for yourself. And in a world of free will, whatever you believe is what you experience. And whatever you believe is what you experience is all part of your journey for your own realization. So remember, God is synonymous with love. God is synonymous with spirit. Spirit is energy. Energy is always for fuller expansion and fuller expression. Energy is never created or destroyed. Everything you want already exists. You're a divine being. You're made in the image of God, and the expression of which, of how you prove that to yourself, is through your own imagination. So it's everything you need, nothing you can't handle. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you haven't yet, be sure to get my free success hypnosis right there down below. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's my free success hypnosis to reprogram your subconscious mind, to help you create what you want, to change your frequency pattern, to start to create the life that you want. So be sure to get it right there down below. It's Jake's Hypnosis. Listen to it in the morning for like 5 minutes, or listen to it as you're falling asleep for like 5 minutes, and then start practicing changing the images. That's going to change the frequency you're in. It's going to change the point of attraction. It's going to change how you're aligning with the quantum field, and thus it's going to change the results that you're getting back here in this dimension. Remember, you're a spiritual being in a physical body. You're a divine being. God is love. Life is love. You live in a friendly universe, and there's nothing to worry about. So then the question is, well, what's really possible? And nobody knows what you're really capable of. Nobody knows what you're really possible of. It's beyond what you can even conceive and perceive with your own mind. So make sure you hit the like button on this video if you enjoyed it. Give me a comment down below that says God is love right there down below. Give me a comment down below that says God is love. If you haven't yet, be sure that you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. A lot of people saying they aren't getting notified for new videos even though they're subscribed. The bell notification is actually what notifies you. So make sure you hit the bell notification, get my free success hypnosis right there down below. Remember, God is love. You're more powerful than you think you are, but the question is, how powerful are you? And only you can find that out for yourself.